TG Geeks, episode 94, September 5th, 2016. Can anyone say vacation? Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. And it's time for vacation.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from TG Squared Studios, but not yet in San Diego, California.
Yes, and we will be in San Diego next week for Horrible Imaginings Film Festival.
Can't wait.
A little vacation time, so we can't wait. So we got a show for you. We don't have an interview this week, so more silliness as last week was.
With any luck, yeah,
with
sure.
any luck, yeah. All right, here we go.
So, everybody is kind of like thinking, I really would love to see a Black Widow film. We need to know more about Black Widow and her Russian background, how she got to be where she is, and right now, I'm kind of thinking, we really don't need to have a movie about Black Widow because Russia has their own Защитники.
What?
Guardians.
Oh.
Actually, that's the American title. It's going to be called Guardians, but in Russian, and I hope I get this right for all our Russian listening people. I believe the pronunciation is Защитники, which actually I don't think that deserves a rim shot.
Oh.
But actually,
it sounds like it does.
It sounds like maybe. Actually, when I run the translation in Google, it says advocates.
Interesting.
Yes, but
we'll have to ask Tatiana when we're down there.
Yeah,
next week.
well, I think actually Mark Biaggi is learning Russian as
that's
well,
true.
so we can ask him because
Yeah.
we'll be seeing him next week.
Yeah, we'll see several people.
Yeah, we're going to see a number of people, and hopefully some of them who speak Russian will be able to give us a correct pronunciation on this. In any case, this is a film that is coming out of Russia. It is a superhero film.
Superhero.
It kind of has a bit of a Avengers / Fantastic Four kind of feel to it. And as I said, it's being called Guardians, at least when it comes to the U.S. And there are already some posters about it. We have two trailers. It's actually the same trailer that is on our website. One is completely in Russian and subtitled. The other one is dubbed. I highly recommend looking at the one that's
What's
subtitled.
What's it dubbed into?
English.
Oh, okay.
And it's hilariously bad.
Greatest Russian hero? What? That doesn't work.
No.
Greatest American.
Believe it or not, I'm not even going to try to rewrite those lyrics.
Why not?
I know, because it'd just be silly. In any case, here is the extended synopsis. It's set during the Cold War. A secret organization named Patriot gathered a group of Soviet superheroes, altering and augmenting the DNA of 4 individuals in order to defend the homeland from supernatural threats. The group includes representatives of the different nationalities of the Soviet Union, where each one of them have long been hiding their true identity. In hard times, they settled down to business and gathered to defend their homeland. So that's pretty much it. I would say that it stars, and I'm really gonna butcher this.
Oh boy!
Now the movie is set to be released in Russia on February 23rd of next year. I'm gonna butcher these names, so forgive me. Oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm gonna pronounce this. Anton Pampushny as Arsus, also known as the Bearman Dude Guy. Sansar Madiev as Khan. Sebastian Sisak as Lair. Alina Lanina as Xenia. Boy, I hope I'm getting these right. And Valeria, I'm not even going to try it. Forget it. As Latina, I'm not going to... And these last two, I'm not even going to touch. Well, I think I can do the last one. Stanislav Shirin as Kuratov. That one I can do. But, man, some of these, I mean, it's like there's no vowels. It's all consonants. It's Welsh, yes. I can't even begin to pronounce these. Forget it. I mean, I will ruin these. So I'm not even going to bother, lest I offend a lot of people.
We may have to go get Tatiana to say all these names for us, and then we'll just
record them.
Yeah,
and then we'll and then we'll just
and
play
anytime we need it, we'll just pull it out.
Yeah, just pull these out.
Pull out the recording.
Yeah, in fact, I think we may actually redo this story next week with Tatiana actually supplying the names for us. That could work. So in any case, we do have the trailer. In spite of the fact that the dubbed version comes off really poorly. In terms of action, it actually looks really good, and I think they may be looking at a possible franchise. It looks really interesting, and we do have a little bit of an update in terms of when this movie might come out to the U.S. It appears that Guardians, as I said, that's the American title, is set to open in movie theaters sometime again in 2017. So it'll start in Russia, in the motherland, and then it'll come here sometime later. I'm looking forward to it. I just hope that they provide the subtitled version. I'd rather watch that because it tends to be a little bit, I think, truer in spirit, although there are some people who seem to think that it's not quite that good. In any case. So, moving right along to a TV show that Keith and I happen to be big fans of, but we're going to have to say farewell to, and that is Grimm.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I'm not the one canceling the show.
It's all your fault. It's our fault because we started watching it.
But look at when we started. We watched. Oh, good grief! When did we start watching it?
Oh my gosh!
It was well after the first season was over. I think they were already into season 2, maybe even season 3 when we jumped on board.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was It's I think season 3 or 4.
I think we jumped on to it was about season 3. Possibly, who knows? Well, anyway,
in the middle of season 3 or something,
possibly.
We were catching up.
We definitely mainlined the crazy out of this one, and boy, was that a lot of fun. Well, in any case, the final season, 6th season, is coming up, and in a press release today, the TV, well, not today, but when we ran the story, which was August 30th, the TV network NBC stated that this final season is going to begin on January 6th.
Oh, Lord. So they're doing a short season.
Only 13 episodes.
Yuck.
Yeah. Season 6 will consist of 13 episodes with the final chapter. It's going to be following the battle that fans have long been waiting for. Nick versus Captain Renard. I feel like we should be hearing gladiator cheering and all that sort of thing going on right now. In any case, this...
Do I have anything?
No. Nothing to be cheering about. This is all sad. Oh, no, what? Wrong kind of magic.
Oh.
In any case, with the forces of Black Claw silenced, Nick, played by David Giantoli, will face a familiar foe in Captain Renard, played by Sasha Royce, who is now in the seat of power as the mayor-elect of Portland, Oregon. Nick must take a stand to protect his city and those closest to him, especially with his child, with Adeline. And it will take the full force of Nick and his allies to find a way to bring peace. Also in the final chapter, Monroe, played by Silas Weir-Mitchell, and his wife Rosalie, played by Bree Turner, will grapple with bringing your child into a new and tumultuous world, while Eve, played by Bitsy Tulloch, who is David Giantoli's fiancée now, faces unsettling identity issues as her former self lurks below the surface. I'm looking forward to it, and as sad as I am that we're going to be saying goodbye to Grimm, because I think there are plenty of stories they could still tell.
Yeah.
At least they now know that, okay, this is it. We got 13 episodes to wrap this up, and I have a funny feeling that from the moment episode 13, as the moment at the moment the first episode of season 6 hits, this thing's going to be running out of the gate.
Yeah, hopefully they'll tell us what that damn stick is.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I don't think that they're going to leave anything unresolved.
Stone unturned.
Yeah, I think they will literally wrap up, and that's the stories that I've been reading. That every single thread is going to be tied up. So I'm sad that it's going away, but at the same time, I'm excited to see how they're going to do it, because at least they can properly plan this. And I have a funny feeling they've been kind of holding on to these last few stories just for this very purpose.
Yeah.
So now this next episode is a bit timely, because we've got something very special in terms of pop culture coming up on the 8th of September, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later in this show. But we have even more details regarding Star Trek Discovery. Now, I have to really tip my hat to Brian Fuller, who is the showrunner. This guy can say so much without saying anything. He has not given one spoiler for this series, and yet he has managed to share so much about the show. Now, this story, as with the previous two stories we've talked about, will be in the show notes for this episode at tggeeks.com. But I will go over a couple of things, because there are way too many points to talk about as far as this series goes. But I can cover a few things. Now, the first 3 scripts for season 1 of Discovery are finished, along with outlines for episodes 4 and 5. The season will run 13 episodes, but Brian Fuller has admitted that he'd rather have 10. Interesting. He wants to cut it down to 10. He says that he thinks that model works better for Game of Thrones. We'll have to wait and see. The first episode is a 2-hour pilot. This is interesting. The first half of the 2-hour pilot was written by Brian Fuller and Alex Kurtzman. Now, this is just me speaking personally. Keep Alex Kurtzman away, because he's the one who's been writing the scripts for the last 2 Star Trek JJ movies. But be that as it may. The second half of the 2-hour pilot was written by Nick Meyer.
Interesting.
So this is going to be very unusual. I mean, we're talking 2 entirely different tones here.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about that. We'll have to wait and see. No decision has been made regarding the show's opening credits or theme music, although Brian Fuller and his team have access to the music written for the other series, but not the movies. Now, I would also say that at San Diego Comic-Con, there was this teaser trailer that came out, which we ran on our website. And a lot of people have said it looks like a cross between a Federation ship and a Klingon ship. Brian Fuller has already come forward to say that's not what Discovery is going to look like.
Okay.
So we don't know what the ship is going to look like yet. We don't know what that teaser is all about. Why it got leaked at San Diego Comic-Con, we don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Some other points that we can mention: Discovery will be about a never-depicted event in Star Trek history. It will be set a decade before the original series. The series will have a gay character, because this has been a long-time goal of Brian Fuller's ever since he worked on Voyager. And I remember there was some talk about having a gay character show up on Voyager, and at that time, the hate mail that came in to Paramount was rude. And it was toxic. So Paramount cowered, and maybe rightly so at the time. Maybe society fandom wasn't ready for it yet. In any case, I'm glad they seem to be ready for it now. USS Discovery, I'm guessing they're talking about the starship, will have more alien characters than any of the previous ships. That should be interesting. And there could also be some classic Star Trek characters that might appear. And Brian Fuller has admitted that he has a personal wish on one character he would like to see: Amanda Grayson, Spock's mother.
Interesting.
There are others. We will not cover them right now, because then it would take up the entire episode. But I would recommend take a look at the show notes for this episode, see all the points that are there, and see the commentary that Brian Fuller has to make on each of these points. You will find it very interesting if you're a Star Trek fan. So please do that. tggeeks.com, the show notes for this episode. You will see it there.
I want to interject something here, something that just popped up in my RSS feed, that the new teaser for Miss Peregrine's
Is there a new teaser now?
Yeah. It was the very first clip from Tim Burton's upcoming film, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Well, that's interesting because there has been some teasers and trailers for it, starring Asa Butterfield.
Yeah. So that...
We'll take a look at that,
Yeah.
and we might very well post that on our show notes as well. That looks. I'm glad to see that they're beginning to push that a little bit. Does it give a release date?
September 30th.
Okay, we're just weeks away. So this is they're ramping up with the trailers now. So that doesn't surprise me. To be honest, that's a movie I'm very much looking forward to. Since we don't really have any more Harry Potter films, although Warner Brothers desperately, apparently, really wants to do The Cursed Child.
Yeah, the cast is incredible.
I love the cast.
Ava Green, Asa Butterfield, Chris O'Dowd, Allison Janney, Rupert Everett, Terrence Stamp, Ella Purnell, Judi Dench, and Samuel L. Jackson.
That is one
God.
heck of a cast. Isn't I can't think of her name now. Tim Burton's ex-wife. I can't remember her now. I think she's in the film too. Her name just went right out of my head. Oh well.
Yeah.
In any case,
Anywho,
I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. That'll be a great film. Now, last story for this first section of the episode. Open Road Films and Mattel. Yes, I'm talking about the toy company.
Mattel.
They have debuted the first trailer for an upcoming live-action movie called Max Steel. Max Steel stars Ben Winchell as Max McGrath and Anna Villafane as Sophia Martinez. Now, it's written by... Martinez. Well, it might be Martinez. Who do we know? Maybe that's how she pronounced it.
In a different universe, maybe.
Well, maybe she's from a parallel world. I don't know. I mean, I'm, tomato.
No, it's Martinez.
Okay, fine. I like Martinez, actually. I think it's got a nice ring to it.
Yeah, and you sound like a gringo, too.
Well, okay, fine. You read the story.
I don't have the story up.
Anyway, it's written by Marvel Studios veteran Christopher Yost. And Christopher Yost, he wrote Thor the Dark World, and it's directed by Stuart Handler, who did Halo 4, Forward Unto Dawn. And it's very much an in-depth origin story about a young teenager whose father died of very mysterious circumstances, and apparently he's got superpowers that are about to kill him until he meets some metallic companion of his, and they become one to become a superhero. We have a trailer for it. I would recommend taking a look at it. It looks really good. This thing has like the word franchise stamped all over it. But I think it could be a lot of fun. It looks very family friendly. It looks like something you might see on the ABC Family Network. In any case, I actually kind of like the look of it. It could be really good. So anyway,
cool.
Check that out. Like I said, this will be in the show notes for this episode, tggeeks.com, and the movie is Max Steel.
Yay.
This is Mark Biaggi, and you're listening to TG Geeks Webcast. Get your geek on.
And here's a few selected birthdays for September 5th through September 11th, 2016. September 5th, Tatiana Patton.
Speaking of Russian.
Yeah. And Greg Lowe, a filmmaker in San Diego that we met last year.
Who turned out... Oh, I loved that short.
Great short. Also on September 5th, Freddie Mercury.
Freddie would have been 70.
Wow.
And think about that. And I just saw a little bit of trivia with Brian May. Apparently, when Freddie associated himself with Brian and Roger Taylor, they did not know he could sing. They knew that he was a very flamboyant and very over-the-top kind of performer, and he had all these ideas for for this group that he was gonna spearhead. They had no idea what kind of a talent they were bringing in with Freddie and that unbelievable voice of his. So
yeah,
you're missed, Freddie.
Absolutely. Also September 5th, Bob Newhart, George Lazenby, the first James Bond.
Well, one-time James Bond.
One-time James Bond.
Not first.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
Was he the first?
Yeah, he was I think in the very first James Bond film.
No, he came in between Sean Connery and Roger Moore, didn't he?
I
think so.
Oh, well. I think we had this discussion last time, too. Anyway, Also, Michael Keaton, Daryl Zanuck, and John Cage. That's for you, Brian Weber. September 6th, Idris Elba, Roger Waters.
Of Pink Floyd fame.
Jane Curtin, you ignorant.
Yeah.
Anyway. And Joanne Worley.
Lemons!
Yes. September 7th, Toby Jones, Dario Argento. He was a master of Italian horror.
Of course he was.
And he was also a mentor to, I can't remember the guy that did Cemetery Man.
Oh, that guy.
I can't remember what his name is. I looked that up earlier and then forgot completely. Also on September 7th, James Van Allen, the Van Allen radiation belts.
Of course.
September 8th, Martin Freeman.
Wow, his career has just shot up like a rocket lately.
Absolutely. Peter Sellers. And I didn't realize that Peter Sellers died. He was only 54 when he died.
Yeah, he was very young. He died way before his time.
Yeah, 1984 or something. 81, 84.
Yeah.
Also, September 8th, Sid Caesar and Anton Dvorak, composers. September 9th, Henry Thomas.
Elliot.
September 10th, Brad Boyer of,
Pod Culture.
Pod Culture, gosh. And our good friend Gordon Street III. Also, September 10th, Colin Firth. September 11th, David Bunch.
Good friend from a long time ago.
From long years ago. And my sister, Lynn Lane Hill, is on September 11th. Also, September 11th, Brian De Palma and O. Henry. And that is it for the birthdays.
Hi, this is Heather Langenkamp, and I wouldn't dream of missing an episode of Megapodzilla.
Hi, this is Robert Hayes. You don't listen to Megapodzilla? Surely you can't be serious.
Hi, this is Christy Swanson. Does the word duh mean anything to you?
Hi, I'm Crazy Joe.
I'm Hot John.
And I'm just Bob.
We're the hosts of Megapodzilla,
the podcast equivalent of a 100-foot radioactive robot lizard.
But with horn-rimmed glasses and a pocket protector.
Oh my god, that's so nerdy.
We're on the rampage, laying waste to the geek landscape.
Every week we talk movies and TV.
Comics, pop culture, we bring you interviews with celebrities and industry insiders.
Oh, don't forget, we talk about toys. We talk about toys too.
Who could forget?
You won't let us.
So check us out. You might have fun.
Heck, we've been nominated for the Parsec Award twice, so we must be doing something right.
But we never won.
Yet.
So look for us in the iTunes Store, the Google Play Store, on iHeartRadio, on Stitcher, and always at Megapodzilla.com.
And if you're lucky, maybe we'll just sell you our nudes.
Keep on wearing those pajamas.
Go give a listen to Crazy Joe et al. At Megapodzilla. Yes, I ran the new Megapodzilla.
That was the new ad.
Finally, because I forgot about the other one.
Oops.
So now it is time for
dance music.
Dancing droids. Dancing feedback.
You said dancing droids, and I just had this vision of C-3PO trying to do the Saturday Night Live pose.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, well, that's an image that's not going to leave my head anytime soon. Anyway.
Anywho.
We got some good feedback. We got something from, interesting enough that we talked about your sister's birthday. She left us feedback.
I know.
I thought this was interesting. This is about the TV series, the Netflix series, Stranger Things. And she left us this comment. We watched the first episode of Stranger Things on Tuesday evening. We watched 2 more Wednesday, and then 1 more on Thursday evening. This evening, we vegged out and watched the last 4 episodes. What? True. Your sister watched not only sci-fi, but horror as well.
Horror of horrors.
Thank goodness we will soon have Project Runway and Survivor to occupy our TV while we patiently wait for Season 2.
Yes.
And there is a season 2. It has been announced.
Yes.
So we just have to, being that it's Netflix, God, heaven only knows when it's going to come out. It'll be about a year from now. So everybody sit patiently and wait. And then now, regarding the story that we just talked a little bit about earlier, about how there's a new Russian movie, Guardians, or as they call it, Zashidnike. We got a comment from Missy Gunnels-Catano.
Say that one more time.
Zashidnike?
Gesundheit.
I was waiting for you to do that. I knew it was just a matter of time before you pulled that one out. I'm surprised.
Of course.
I'm surprised it took you that long.
I was too busy trying to find sounds.
Oh, was that it? So anyway, we got a comment from Missy Gunnels-Catano, and she simply writes, "I would so go to see this." Well, yeah, you and a lot of people. And then regarding episode 93, our last episode, and of course, like this one, we were just kind of like winging it because we didn't have an interview. We just had stories, so we were just being our silly selves. And we got a comment from Arkle, Brian Weber, anyway, and he writes, "Oh, winging it! I remember back when it seemed like winging it was sort of the Velvet Underground, a podcast. Velvet Underground, a podcast?
Velvet Underground?
Holy moly. Not that many people listened to it, but everyone who did had their own podcast later. Sadly, I don't think any of those shows are around anymore. I'm pretty sure that's when I folded up Arkle Studios in 2013. I was actually the last of the Winging It listeners to a pod faded. 98% certain that everyone else had ended their shows upwards of a year before I did. That's kind of interesting. I didn't realize Winging It.
Wow.
Well, I never really listened to Winging It because Slice of Sci-Fi came in right after that, and I jumped on kind of early as a listener of Slice before Keith and I became members of that. Anyway, he also adds, regarding The Man Who Fell to Earth, I think you guys might enjoy internet reviewer Kyle Calgren's review of the film. He takes a ... unique approach to film criticism, and on this one, and he gives a YouTube link. We will share that later. You also got a comment from Scott Linder about the episode. He writes, "Oh my God, Keith, with the sound effects. That was great." Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All about you.
Yeah.
All about you.
Well, you're the one that talks.
Yeah, I'm the one. Yeah, but it's all about you. And then he adds, and Blair Witch, or as I like to call it, Blair Witch, wasn't scary the first time it came out. Not even interested. The whole found footage horror movie genre just doesn't do it for me. There are a select few movies like this that were okay, but in general, it's not my favorite. Okay, I can give you that. But then we also got a comment from Russ Emanuel, who, oddly enough, did a found footage movie that we both love very, very much called Occupants. And Russ simply writes, "Thank you and nice episode." I think that's because he had his birthday. Didn't he say?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we got a comment from Kenny Rotter, and he writes, "Thanks for the shout-outs on the episode. Today's episode was great. Wish you both were in Southern California, too." And I think he's referring to NerdCon, which we had to miss.
And because we were saying we wish we were in Southern California with all the other podcasters.
Yeah, there's so many other podcasters that are down there. I mean, you've got Geekitude, Average Geek Show. There are others.
And Dumbbells and Dragons.
Dumbbells and Dragons, yeah. There's so many that are down there. They've kind of formed their own little podcast and little network, shall we say.
Yeah.
And we're here in Arizona. Oh, well. And then we had a lovely little one-word comment from our good old fairy godmother. Her name is Teresa Corey. We call her that because she's a phenomenal travel agent.
With Fairy Godmother Travel.
With Fairy Godmother Travel. Ding. And this is in regards to the Farewell to Grimm. And she simply writes, "Sad."
Yeah.
Yes. And then some time ago, we did a story about how there are more plans and development between Marvel Studios and the ABC network. And someone named Jamie Sester, and I hate to say it, but I think I might actually know Jamie from years past, because that name really rings a bell. Anyway, Jamie left a comment on our website, simply writing, "Agent Carter and Marvel's Most Wanted should definitely be given a second chance."
Yes,
we
I think so.
Agree. And that is our comments for today.
Yeah, we are always looking for comments and feedback on our show and our website and anything else that we post. So we would love to hear from you. If you do decide to comment, you can do that on our website, on our Facebook page, Twitter, on our YouTube channel, or anywhere else you can find us. But please be nice. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your feedback.
Hello, this is Miguel Rodriguez, director of the Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks podcast.
And I should have said, you can leave a comment on our listener line at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357.
Well, something very significant is going to be happening in terms of pop culture later this week, specifically on September 8th. That is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. 50 years ago, Star Trek premiered. Yeah. It's hard to believe that it's 50 years.
50 years.
And I have said this. I was 4 years old when it premiered on NBC, and I remember it. It meant nothing to me except I kept seeing this spaceship just fly across the TV screen, and I always remember that the first thought. Well, I don't remember the theme, not from that time. Oh, please, by all means, I really want to just diva out for us, please.
No, go ahead.
In any case, I remember my initial impression was, well, this is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And because I remember seeing Lost in Space prior to that, and actually that was a show that I did sort of get because Lost in Space is a lot simpler. I was about to say juvenile, but that's not nice. It's simpler. So I did understand it at the tender age of 4. Star Trek was a bit above me. I'm not ashamed to admit that. And I do remember seeing the Enterprise fly across the TV screen, and me thinking, that looks like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, even at 4, I thought, that does not look like any ship I've ever seen before. It was fascinating. So, we all kind of pretty much know the history. The series ran, it ran 3 years. It was threatened to be canceled earlier, but a phenomenal letter writing campaign sparked by probably one of the greatest Star Trek fans of all time, Bijou Trimble, saved the show. I think she may have actually saved the show twice. And so it ran 3 times, and then came along syndication, which is when Star Trek really took off.
Yeah.
The pop cultural phenomenon was enormous. I remember reading how there was going to be a Star Trek con in New York. They were expecting like maybe only 500 people to show up, and like over 2,000 did. They weren't ready for it, and it just grew like wildfire, and it hasn't stopped.
No, it's just, I remember watching, every day after school, watching the original and then rewatching it for years and years and years.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I remember seeing it on network television when it first aired, but my parents were not into science fiction, so my mom was like, "No, you go to bed." So that was that. But it wasn't until it hit syndication that I really began to watch it quite religiously, and it was running on the independent channels.
Yeah.
Back where I lived in the Bay Area, and it was on like in the afternoon, 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and yeah, I watched every episode.
I watched it every time it was on.
I even went so far as to actually audio tape.
I even had to watch it in black and white because we had 2 TVs. We had gotten a color TV, but we still had the black and white that was in the living room, and I would always go in the living room and watch it.
I watched it in black and white too. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I just wanted to watch it because I thought it was a fascinating TV show. And by this time I was about 11, 12 years old when it finally started to really do its business in syndication, and I fell in love with it.
Yes, and for you young whippersnappers, there was such a thing as black and white television.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
and that was the only thing there was.
And we liked it. Dadgummit. But we've seen how. Yeah, but we've seen how it just completely. It was more than a fad. A lot of people. My mother, God love her. She maintains, it's just a fad. That I will always remember that. It's just a fad. Because my best friend in grade school, he and I were going to a Star Trek film festival in San Francisco. And my stepdad was going to take us. He was going to drop us off there and then pick us up later. And they were having a conversation. She just said, "No, it's just a fad."
Just a fad.
And no, I think we can
see. Just a phase.
I think we can say safely now that it is not. Oh, that's funny. In any case, I think we can safely say that it's not a fad.
Or a phase.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for totally derailing me.
Yeah. It's my job.
Yes.
Right, Scott?
Yeah. But we've seen how Star Trek has really taken a life of its own. I mean, there were the movies that started out.
Everything.
Star Trek. Merchandise. Did you? What kind of Star Trek things did? Okay, let me rephrase the question. Now, you said that you saw the series when it was syndicated.
I had the episode guide.
Oh, very good.
Oh my God!
Did
with
you get
with the little wheel?
Yes.
Yeah, and I had the blueprints.
The blueprints. Did you get the tech manual?
I think I had the tech manual as well.
Oh, far out.
Oh my God! I just had all this stuff.
And I remember.
I wish I still had that.
Oh,
episode
I know.
Guide.
Oh yeah, I remember the episode.
So cool.
I think that was called the Concordance.
I think it was.
Yes, it was the Concordance. I didn't have one. My best friend in grade school, Bill, he did. So I always looked at his. I did have the blueprints, and I had the tech manual. There were other things that came out which I'm ashamed to admit that I never purchased, and I wish I had. There was a medical manual.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that one.
I didn't know about them. I found that in a bookstore. I didn't have the money to buy it at the time, so I couldn't get it. But it really went into the biology of all the aliens. I mean,
wow.
It got a little bit extreme. In fact, it even talks about the excrement system of Vulcans.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. It was pretty bold stuff there. But at the same time, it was still kind of fascinating to kind of see what fandom had really done. I mean, we had novels all over the place. I mean, really good. We're not talking fan fiction either. I mean, although fan fiction was rampant, but we're not talking fan fiction. We're talking actual bona fide Star Trek novels written by professional authors, because there was no such thing as new Star Trek at the time.
Right.
And I would get these. I read them religiously. The only time I was allowed to get a Star Trek novel is if I was actually sick with like the flu or something, and my parents took pity on me.
Oh, wow.
Then they said, "Is there anything we can get to make you feel better?" Well, yeah, there I'd be in bed dying. Oh, I could really use another Star Trek novel. No, I wasn't that bad. And then of course we saw how that spawned Next Generation. After the movies came out, and there was big success there.
Yep.
Next Generation come out, and all of a sudden there was this whole new wave of Star Trek fandom. And here's the scary thing.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole new generation of Star Trek fans that only knew the new stuff.
Yeah,
the new
I
material.
Know. I was just going to say that there's people that never knew original series. It's only Next Generation, or even Voyager, or Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
or
that's all they knew, because there really wasn't a lot. I mean, home video was a very new market at the time.
Yep.
So unless you were watching a network or someplace where they were actually running the old shows, you had no chance of really seeing them anymore.
Still running.
But they were kind of hard to. They're hard to find.
Right.
It was very hard to find the original Star Trek series once Next Gen came out, because that was a syndicated series as well.
Right.
So they're really pushing that, and then Deep Space Nine, which was also syndicated. Then we had Voyager, and here is where Paramount finally was able to crank out the UPN network.
Right.
The United Paramount Network. But we saw this just great excitement there of Star Trek. I mean, we were almost being overwhelmed, I think.
Yeah, and then all the movies.
The movies are coming out, some good, some not so good.
You know, and then there's, as we've talked about a couple of times, and as we talked about with Larry Nemechek, that the new Star Trek was sort of designed. They went for a different feel and a different look and whatnot to bring people into Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I remember the very first time we had Jeannie Koch here in the studio, and we weren't recording yet. We hadn't started the show, but Jeannie waxed on quite eloquently about how she hated the original movies and how she loved the J.J. Abrams films. Now, of course, at that time, we only had Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. Beyond had not been made yet. And I remember watching her husband, watching Steve's face, as he just puts his words are, "Honey, you're killing me."
yeah.
And I just looked at Steve and said, "Steve, I'm right with you." I admit I'm not a big fan of. I mean, they're okay, but you're right. Larry was correct. You know, these movies are really designed to recruit new people and hopefully get them to start looking backwards throughout the entire history of Star Trek. You know, and then finally discover the original series.
And then discover.
Yeah. Well, now we've got this new series that's about to come out, and I remember, you know, in the beginning I was a little kind of, you know, a little bit. I was being an old curmudgeon about it, but now I can safely say we will probably be watching it.
Yeah, we'll probably have to pay the $10 to CBS.
Well, actually, I'm thinking I might actually, $10 I think is actually for the commercial free.
Yeah.
CBS Access. Yeah, I'll pay $10 a month for commercial free.
Yeah, why not?
I might as well do it. And I'll be interested to see what kind of direction they're going to take. But at the same time, I think it's really exciting to see what kind of impact Star Trek continues to have. I mean, we saw just this plethora of merchandise that had come out. I was a big fan of the Star Trek Exploration Kit. You know, all the models that came out, and even now they're still merchandising up the hilt. I mean, you can go online and just see all sorts of really fantastic stuff there. There's a communicator that serves as a Bluetooth remote for your telephone. So if you've got like an iPhone, you can actually Bluetooth connect this communicator to your iPhone, and it'll actually serve as your communication device, which I think is terrifically awesome. And you were in Vegas years ago for a business trip, and you bought me was it a tricorder, or was it a communicator?
I think the communicator.
Yes, guys. It looks like the official prop,
right?
And with the shape and everything, it's still in the box. That's I never bothered to open it because it just, to me, it's a trophy piece. And we got a couple of tribbles that are hanging around in the office. Oh no, I'm sorry, those aren't tribbles. Those are our cats and the fur they shedded.
Yep. So
in any case, I'm just really jazzed with what's going on with Star Trek right now, so I guess basically, if anybody out there listening to this, if you've got a fond Star Trek memory, I would love to hear it. I'd like to know what kind of impact Star Trek has done for you.
Yeah.
What are your fond memories? Say, for example, did you ever get to check out Star Trek The Experience, which Keith and I have done twice before it sadly went away, and I keep wishing they'd bring it back, because I said this on Slice of Sci-Fi. I remember the very first time you and I went and checked out the Star Trek Experience. We went to Vegas for my birthday.
Yep.
And the first time we walked in there, and that's right, it was for my birthday. We got to Vegas a little bit early because other members of my family are going to be showing up a few days later. We got there early. We went in, and we were just like the first. Once the main gate opened.
Yep.
And they were playing all this beautiful soundtrack music, and they were playing the soundtrack to First Contact. The best Star Trek score Jerry Goldsmith ever penned.
Yep.
And there are these gigantic models, and they're running video all high up against the wall, and the words just came out of me, "I'm home."
Yeah. And I think there were a few tears there too.
There were. I am not ashamed to admit it. I broke down crying because of my deep love for this show.
Yep.
So let me just close off with this. And so I want to ask this of you. Why do you think Star Trek is so hot?
I think it's the utopia. It's we can be a better people, and we can be at peace and not have all of this other crap going on. I think that's one of the draws to it. And, it's just good sci-fi.
Yeah.
And it was the sci-fi that we had at the time.
Yes, and that is true. And I know that I've said this on the other show that I work on, Fusion Patrol, and that's how for years there was this dearth. There was no science fiction whatsoever. And then Star Trek comes along and completely reshapes the landscape of television, or at least it attempted to, and the networks still didn't quite catch on. And then I remember, when Star Wars came out, and Paramount thought, "Oh, we can jump on the bandwagon. Let's push out Star Trek." And then Gene Roddenberry, who was still running the show at the time, at least running the movies, he cranks out Star Trek: The Motion Picture. He creates a thoughtful science fiction film, and the studio hated it. Oh well, too bad.
Wagon Train to the Stars.
Yeah, they wanted something really actiony. But I think you're right. Star Trek had these great morality plays. There is something very utopia.
There's social commentary, too.
There's a lot of social commentary. You look back at A Private Little War, which was a very strong commentary on the Vietnam War and America's involvement in that. Then you've got Let This Be Your Last Battlefield, which was such a statement about race hatred.
Yep.
Unbelievably powerful stuff there. It does. It tells us
first interracial kiss.
Oh, the first interracial. Yeah, the first interracial kiss on television. It teaches us that we can be much better, such better people, and so I know that we've seen, in the last few years, there's been this huge, amount of dystopian science fiction that's come out there because people, for some reason, culture at that time seemed to take a really depressing point of view. But now we've got something very positive. Star Trek seems to be kind of coming out again. I think people are turning away. I think they've had their fill of negativity, and now they want something more positive. And Star Trek does have a very positive message, and that's what it means to me too. That we can be better people. That we can, we can reclaim this Earth, and make it a good place, and then with equal benevolence go out into the stars and share that goodwill. Is it a conceit? Maybe, but I think it's a healthy one. And if I'm going to be deluded, then let me be deluded with something positive like that. And
exactly.
that's what Star Trek is for me.
Yep.
So last thing I want to talk on. We've talked in the past, and we mentioned a little bit about a certain lady named Tatiana. She's the wife of Jeff Patton, who is the almighty guru for Origin, Beyond the Impact. Impact. And right now, yes? Impact.
Yeah,
right now,
ceased to be a word now.
Yeah, it has lost all meaning. And Jeff Patton, who is the almighty guru, he's ramping up production on the next section, or the next part of the web series Beyond the Impact. And in doing so, he has released 3 little, like 2.5 minute long, they call it conversations, but it's not really dialogue. It's more just some commentary by some people that are part of the show. The first one that was released was with Jeff himself, where he answers specific points about Origin Beyond the Impact, how it came about, things like that. And over the last week, released 2 more, each with the 2 of the lead actors, Travis Osland and David Wagner, about their characters, how they got into acting, what they think about their characters themselves, what do they take away from Beyond the Impact. These are short. They're like 2 minutes long.
They're really nice.
They're
slick, well edited, very well shot.
very professionally produced.
Yeah.
And we will have the link for those in an article on our website and on a link for this particular episode for TG Geeks episode 94.
Yeah. So, as always, we have our little follow-up items. Check out the calendar for cons, film festivals, birthdays, etc. And as you know by now, hopefully, we become huge supporters of independent creators, not just film, but any kind of creative outlet that is of an independent nature. Last week we went and saw several independent comic book creators.
Yes.
One that has been working in the comic book industry and is now an independent creator, as well as two other independent creators, and got a couple of really nice artwork. Yeah, some nice sketches.
Yeah, we might have to do an article and put this on the, at least just post the photos on our website so that everybody can see them.
Yeah, so we got those hanging up. If you hear anything about independent creators, whether it's film, writers, comic book artists, etc., please check them out. If they are doing a Indiegogo campaign or some kind of Kickstarter campaign,
support
crowdfunding, go ahead and support them. You never know. You might get a nice perk and something that is worth some money sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So please consider supporting independent creators. And speaking of, we want to tell you about Horrible Imaginings Film Festival, September 7th through the 12th. We will be there at the Museum of Photographic Arts in Balboa Park, San Diego. Film festival not to be missed.
Absolutely not. It is phenomenal.
It is incredible. They've increased it. Last year it was only 3 days. They're doing 5 days this time. Starting on Wednesday through Friday are evenings. Saturday and Sunday are all day. And on Saturday we're sponsoring the LGBT block of films on Saturday afternoon. So check it out. Tickets are still available at hifilmfest.com if you are in San Diego. And you can check out our interview with Miguel Rodriguez in episode 87. He is the almighty guru, as you say.
He's the elder god.
Yes, of Horrible Imaginings Film Festival. Phoenix Comic-Con Fan Fest 16 will be October 22nd and 23rd in downtown Phoenix at the Convention Center. They've
released a guest name.
A guest name. 11.
From Stranger Things.
Yes. Millie Bobby, what's her name?
I
can't remember her name, but anyway, she played 11 in Stranger Things. Check out the Phoenix Comic-Con website and for more information. And for those of you that are year-round Halloween fans, Keen Halloween in Phoenix, September 23rd and 24th at the Convention Center. More information at keenhalloween.com.
And as always, we like to thank the Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter. They produce the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, which is a paper lead that every so often repurposes our episodes, our stories. Yeah, they have
episodes,
actually
really?
shared our episodes
cool.
from time to time. So yeah, we're grateful for that. We thank them. But they have pretty much run our stories. So we want to give them a big shout out for that. And if you want to read the Fancast Guide, you can follow them by going to Twitter, and they are at Talking Who. And we've talked about Brian Weber. He produces the Arctimes Post-Dispatch News. And if you wish to read the Post-Dispatch News, because Brian shares our stories there as well, all you have to do is go to Twitter, look for Social Justice Scald. His handle is at Arkle. And you've got and he also has the incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes. And give us some new quotes.
Harry Kim says to Tom Paris, "This is one of those moments where I tell you something isn't a good idea and you ignore me, isn't it?"
These are all on Tumblr. So if you want, check it out. It's a lot of fun. It is the incorrect Star Trek Voyager quotes, and we'll have the link for that on our show notes for this episode.
We want to give a shout out, as always, to the Lucky Show, the twins, Sasha and Dagmar. They are really wonderful.
They're delightful.
We just love them. They give us lots of love on Twitter, and their Twitter handle is at Lookie Show, and you can catch their show on YouTube as Lookie Show.
Hey, gals, Facebook, please.
Yeah, you need a Facebook page.
You really need a Facebook presence.
Yeah. And if you like old movies and great commentary and kind of campy sometimes, check it out.
Absolutely. And since I had mentioned Facebook, we have to give a special shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, because they allow us to post our episodes on their page. In addition to the fact that it is just simply the best page group in Facebook. End of discussion. Their URL is facebook.com/thegaygeeks, and the special, heartfelt thanks to their moderator, Jeremiah Reeves.
Yes,
Thank
he's
you,
a grand
Jeremiah.
poobah.
Yes.
And we want to remind you that we do have Amazon ads at the end of each of our articles and in the widgets on the side of our web page. Please, every once in a while, give them a click. It shows Amazon that we're getting some traffic. You don't have to buy anything, but if you do choose to buy something, use one of our search ads and we'll get a little bit of a kickback. Thank you for your consideration. And lastly, but not leastly, is that a word?
It is now.
It is now. Please, 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 please.
Rate us on iTunes.
Yay. Next time, well, we're probably going to have several little snippets that we're going to release from Horrible Imagining. So look for those. And then we're coming up on 100 episodes. So
imagine
episode
that.
100. So look for that sometime in the near future. There's a little harmonic there.
I heard
never
that
heard before.
Yeah.
Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for the webcast episode. We'll have several links on the page. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.
Peace.
Cheers.
Peace.
Cheers.